Falcon fans, Falcon fans, Falcon fans, and of course, Falcon fans. You already know what it is. You already know what to do. Your boy Jack Spade checking in for one time for the fan. Got the homie T Will here with us talking Falcons football tonight. Terry T Will in the building. How's everything going, sir? I think you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Falcons fans. Hello, one time for the fans, and everything's going great. Looking forward to getting into it tonight. How are you doing, Jack?
Doing good. Feeling good. Feeling great. You know, it's another day closer to Falcons football. Another day closer to this off season. So that's what we are here for, to talk Falcons football with all the Falcon fans. And I'm sure we have a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people that's going to be listening and watching tonight. Episode 170. We are moving, man. We are almost at 200 episodes here on One Time for the Fan. Big shout out to Bodie. Big shout out to Kiki. Big shout out to Chase, too, as well. Dirty Fanatics United. Also co-host here from One Time for the Fan. So big shout out to everybody with the team. And we are back on another Sunday, hoping that the Falcons can get this right. No matter if it's during the season or in the off season, we want to make sure that on a Sunday the Falcons can get it right. And of course, there hasn't been too much news going on in the media with the Atlanta Falcons because it is the off season. We're at a point, Terry, where right now not too much is coming out of any NFL team except for a couple re-signings and some small, internal rumors you might hear every now and then. That breaks out before combine or before a draft. I'm sure some video of some player is going to come out this week in the NFL by some college kid doing something that's going to mess up his combine or his draft stock. It usually happens around this time. But for the most part, nothing has happened here with the Atlanta Falcons. It's just been quiet. So for Falcon fans that's waiting to find out, who was going to, what is the rumor about this guy we're going to sign or quarterback or XYZ? We haven't gotten that yet. We don't know what's going on. So with that news, Terry, we're just here tonight on a normal Sunday. I got my water. No, ain't even drinking. Got my water. Right. So we're going to be just relaxing, enjoying some Falcons fan talk with the Falcons community, Terry. That's all we got tonight, brother. We got some water too.
Oh, yeah. H2O.
I'm about to say, I know you ain't drinking and driving over there. Drinking and driving and living.
I am drinking and living, but I'm not drinking. I happen to be in the passenger seat, so all is well.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Google us wherever you can find us. If we don't have a podcast on that platform, we will add it to that platform. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Chat's already going crazy. Hit the like, hit the share, and subscribe button. Chat fucks with us because we love to put comments on the screen from the chat because the chat is what One Time for the Fan is all about. I'm a fan. You're a fan. These are fans. It's One Time for the Fan. End of the day, it's all about the Atlanta Falcons. We keep talking about that every single day we put this podcast on. It's all about the Atlanta Falcons. But it's still about the fans. And from DSGB Hall to Sterling Woods, Facebook, if you're checking it from Facebook, hit the like, share, and head on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. So we're almost at 700 subscribers right now. And I want to say when we first started with 2 subscribers, I was trying to tell people, come on, y'all, we almost at 5. We almost at 10. Come on, we almost at 15. Now we are almost at 700, and it feels good because what we've done here with One Time for the Fan, Terry, is pretty much use the platform to not only bring facts, bring special guests, bring Falcon fans, but bring together the Falcons community. Because at the end of the day, from DSGB Hall to Sterling Woods to my boy Eric Parker, little big brother, to Emmanuel McFarland, to Kenny, to Anthony White, all we're trying to do is bring this fan base together, man. We all want to win. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you go to the parade when we win the Super Bowl, you're going to see Emmanuel McFarland, T-Will. You're going to walk right past him. Oh, there goes Emmanuel. You're going to walk right past Anthony White. Oh, there goes Anthony White. You're going to walk. You already know Angelica Williams be there. Me and Angelica climbed the hill at training camp in the summer.
I've heard about that hill.
The hill. You got to be prepared for the hill. Yeah. And if it was raining the night before, you in some big trouble going down that hill.
Slippage
Jackson is going down.
Also,
so from One time for the fan, from us to you all, we want to say thank you. Night involved in the giveaway, the one time for the fan giveaway. This is the last night for everybody who's here with the podcast. We didn't mention it on our social media, right? We only mentioned it only on the platform here: Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. If you're watching, listening. So for those that's here in the podcast, you have an opportunity to win 5 winners, some cool merch. We're going to announce that on Wednesday, who's going to be the 5 winners, and then I'll get with you guys privately in the chat, and we'll find out how I can get the stuff out to you. As you can see on the screen, which I'm going to pull up for you all in just a minute, one time for the fan. You have to be a subscriber to one time for the fan. We did it last year, around like 200-something subscribers, less than 200. We had an overwhelming support of people who wanted to be in the giveaway because we gave away some free stuff. We gave away some Falcons game tickets. We gave away signed Kyle Pitts jersey, Falcons shirt, a couple of things, so much stuff. But we had 5 winners. We're doing the same thing again tonight. Oh, I'm sorry, Wednesday night. We've been talking about it since like around close to Christmas, close to the new year. So now we're getting ready to say that tonight is the last chance for you to be a part of the one time for the fan giveaway. All you have to do is just subscribe to the channel right here in the chat. Hashtag one time for the fan. You see it on YouTube, see it on the Facebook. Hashtag one time for the fan in the chat. And if you're not signed up for the giveaway, we will add you to the giveaway. So please, Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, and that subscribe button. Terry?
Yes, sir.
It's a lot going on around the NFL. Not too much going on right now with the Atlanta Falcons, but
Dirty Birds.
There was some comments today, or I guess over the weekend, about a certain someone on our team. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and say his name, Desmond Ridder.
The Desmondites get ready. Wait, are they Desbians? Desbians get ready. We're talking about your guy.
Now,
because he's a Falcon. But go ahead.
We do rock with every Atlanta Falcon on this team, all 53. Once again, we do not play the game. Terry, you don't play the game. I don't play the game.
That's right.
So
don't put my body on the line.
Not me. So shout out to Grady, shout out to Bates, shout out to even Richie Grant, even the ones that people may bash. Shout out to them because we're not playing the game. They try to do the best they could to make sure the fan base is happy, to make sure their family is happy, to make sure the organization is happy. We didn't do that. Shout out to Desmond Ridder too as well. He had a lot of challenges this year.
He did.
The quarterback as the Falcons, from the coaching staff to the play calling to even from preseason, fans questioned why he didn't play more in preseason too as well. So from the day one, and even having not too much of a leader or a mentor last season with Mariota. So from day one, he was already put into a bad situation. So for Falcon fans, and this is not even just for the Desbians or the non-Desbians, this is just for the Falcon fans. The comments today from TJ Yates or over the weekend was interesting to hear that he said, absolutely that he believes Desmond Ridder is a young quarterback. He still has a lot of time to grow and a lot of time to develop. And it's a performance business and so forth. And fans kind of took that as, well, is he still going to be on the roster? Are we going to develop this guy? What are we going to do? And you go back to the comments from people here in the chat saying we don't want Ridder here. We keep him here as QB3. He's a cheap deal and that can play. He played in the other system, and now he's going to be playing in this system. For me, I have no problem with Desmond Ridder being on the roster going forward. Some would say, he does give the Arthur Smith vibe when you see players, that worked under Arthur Smith still here on the roster. But then again, that's a whole bunch of players out there too as well, if you're talking about just for Desmond Ridder. But I understand how fans can feel about Ridder because he was the quarterback at the time where fans didn't want him as the quarterback, and then he came in the game and he showed a little bit of some life to the team with 2-0 start, and then it went downhill. And then, I understand how fans feel because I'm a fan, and I was at the games too as well. So I totally understand how fans feel. But the comments from TJ Yates does have some excitement, Terry, in the room about Desmond Ridder going forward in the future. And I'm all for the Desmond Ridder development if it worked out on a level with Arthur Smith where they would have developed him correctly. And they didn't develop him correctly. So now this new system comes in place. Mm-hmm. And you hear the comments from TJ Yates, who has now moved back to being in the quarterback coaching room. So now he's going to be working with the new quarterback. And he is saying all the nice things about Desmond Ridder because he worked with Desmond Ridder too as well in the past because, I mean, he was in the room with Arthur Smith. But then you get to the end of TJ Yates' comments, and he mentions that there will be a change. So all the positives about Ridder. And at the end of the conversation, he mentions, but there will be a change. Yeah. And of course, for most Falcon fans, when you hear that, it leads you to believe that there is going to be a new quarterback here in Atlanta. It will not be Desmond Ridder. That is not. Sometimes you don't hear it from the head coach. Sometimes you don't hear it from the GM. Sometimes you don't hear it from, whoever in the organization. You heard it from the quarterback's coach. So whether that came down from Raheem and the team and however they believe, Yates spoke on this. Yeah. And because he spoke on this, we're going to speak on this here on One Time for the Fan because Raheem didn't talk, Terry didn't talk, Arthur Blank didn't talk, TJ Yates talked, and he's a member of the organization for the Atlanta Falcons. He's on the coaching staff, and for him to say that shows that they probably have a position to possibly get a quarterback now going forward. And these are starting to confirm the reports because we had some fans here in the chat that said, no, Ridder's the starter. Don't care what you guys are saying. Ridder's the starter. Now TJ Yates now has came out. His comments are saying change is coming here. Terry, you heard the comments from TJ Yates. Ridder's performance from last season too as well. And we're not doing the bash card here, but there is a change of guard at quarterback coming here for the Atlanta Falcons. I think fans are already starting to embrace it. They're already starting to realize who some of these names could be. I think One Time for the Fan has done a great job talking about who some of these names could be for QB1 in Atlanta. And our next topic after this topic is going to talk about a rumor. We talked about rumors earlier today. Rumor of who could the next quarterback in Atlanta be. But Terry, you hear the conversation about Ridder from TJ Yates. He did give him the high praise before mentioning there's going to be a change. And now, Falcons, they're days away from free agency. We are we're really getting geared up to know that there's going to be a new quarterback here. Your thoughts on that? Has it changed recently? Because we have talked about quarterback on the channel here. Has anything changed for you?
No. And you know what? Both things can be true. We can get a new quarterback and Ridder can improve. Both. We live in a universe where they both can exist, and I think they will exist. First and foremost, let's be real. Desmond has talent, right? We've seen flashes last year where Desmond performed.
I think Terry's still there. I don't know if he cut out. If he cut out, give him 2 seconds. Is he there? You ready, Terry?
Yep. You there? Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, there have been flashes where Desmond was great. And, there's been flashes where, not so much. But I think there's room for improvement. I think Desmond is coachable, right? Lots of intangibles. Did I cut out again? You there?
Just for a second, but yeah, you said Desmond is coachable. I hear you. It's not like Mateo the other night, though. Shout out to Mateo. It ain't like Mateo, though. And Mateo had a little, grease fire on that Wi-Fi he had the other night. You know what I'm saying? But Mateo's gonna come back on another podcast. He's gonna be back on another podcast, so don't worry about it, y'all. But yeah, go ahead, Terry.
That's right. No, all good. The point being, look, Ridder has talent. He's coachable. He has intangibles. Lest we not forget, Brett Favre did not start as Brett Favre. Now, in no way am I saying that Desmond Ridder will be the equivalent of one Brett Favre, but we don't know what he can be, right? Let's be fair. He did not have a quarterback's coach in his rookie season. And I'm not going to criticize, but I wouldn't have done that, right? So let's, again, you alluded to earlier Jack, some other challenges that he had, right? Even though we had a great running game, our running game was not what we thought it would be last year. So there were a modicum, there were injuries, there were a modicum of circumstances that led to ultimately where we are. But that doesn't mean that Desmond Ridder cannot improve dramatically. That's first and foremost. With that being said, yes, I do think we will get a new quarterback. I think, there's no way, given the scenario, given the climate, right? Given there's that word again, the narrative, there's no way you can start without a new quarterback. So I think we will have a new quarterback. And I think it'll be fun. Again, we have the coaching staff in place. We have the infrastructure in place. I think this is going to be a successful season. Where it ends up, I don't know, but I do think we'll have a new quarterback, and I do think Desmond will improve, and I think it'll happen all right here with the Falcons. That's my take.
Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. A lot of Falcon fans here in the chat talking Falcons football. Angela Williams is here in the chat. Carlton Bunch is here in the chat. Angelica Williams also is here in the chat. Angela Williams and Angelica Williams in the chat. Anthony White, Kenny Sambrier is in the chat. Emmanuel McFarland, Sterling Woods, DSGB Hall, Lisa Shepard, JJ Ayers in the chat. April Thomas is also in the chat. Dr. Slicknuts is in the chat. Desbians is wow. Dr. Slicknuts is in the chat. Kenny said hashtag one time for the fan. A lot of people are entering the raffle. If you haven't been in the raffle, we do have some names. Got my folder around here somewhere. So we do have some names that's already entered into the raffle. But for everybody that's now joining into the podcast, hashtag one time for the fan. You want to be subscribed to the YouTube channel to enter into the giveaway. Michael W is also in the chat. He said, big up to Dez. He was put in a tough spot by Coach Smith. Also, Dr. Slipnuts is in the chat. He said, couldn't hurt to keep developing him. This is true. Matter of fact, I had a conversation with some friends today. We were talking about Desmond Ridder, and I said, you know what? Ridder would have been in a better situation if he would have had that year, a year with Matt versus where he was with Mariota. Right?
Agreed. 100%.
If he would have had that end of this season with Matt, when Matt was leaving, and let's just say Ridder was on that roster, Ridder probably would have been a much better quarterback going with Arthur Smith, because you would have had Matt Ryan as your leader. Ryan, knowing he's coming to the end of his career, he's done a lot for Atlanta. They drafted his kid somewhere in that third round because, he would have had the opportunity to get a chance to play. The fans would have been calling on Ridder, so it would have been his moment, his time to shine. Mariota kind of rubbed fans the wrong way, where it's like, Mariota, Coach Smith, this ain't Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Like, it had fans feeling just the wrong way. So when Mariota couldn't perform to his ability in the game, throughout the season with the Carolina game and the Pittsburgh game, when they called on Ridder, Ridder wasn't ready, right? He wasn't ready mentally. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I got to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lack. I think Mariota showed a lack of character by quitting for that season, because we didn't allude to that. And not only did he not mentor Desmond, but when he was benched, he had an injury that took him out for the season. And for me, that's a lack of character, right? Let's be real. And again, not bashing him like you say. I don't put my body on the line, but he was not the greatest quarterback, right? That's why he was benched. A part of that position is to be a leader, whether you're first string or second string. And, he basically just quit on the team. And that, I know it rubbed me the wrong way. I think it rubbed a lot of Atlanta fans the wrong way. I think, he may have been back had he stayed on and mentored Ridder, but he didn't, right? And I just wanted to make that point. So not only did he not help, I think he hurt him by just quitting on him with however many games we had left, 4 or 5, whatever games we had left for the season. So I like to say that. But I definitely think he would have benefited from Matt's tutelage. Let's be honest. Matt Ryan, if he's not, he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I'm not going to do the debate. If you check the stats, they speak for themselves. I'm not going to go back and forward with, any, section or sect of the Falcons fans. I know, that's a polarizing topic, but Matt Ryan is a first ballot Hall of Famer, like it or love it. So he definitely would have benefited from his tutelage. college. And go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry. Just had to interject that.
You're telling the truth about that because you talk about leadership, and we go over, I mentioned it to a lot of fans who are in the group chats that I'm in talking Falcons football. And of course, on, the One Time for the Fan Facebook page, I think I mentioned it last year, where a lot of times on the sideline, Mariota wasn't really there coaching Ritter or trying to mentor Ritter in this situation where it's like, hey, let me teach you some things, X, Y, Z. It was more like, I'm fighting for my job, and I know that when I get benched, he's coming in to take my job, and I just don't care no more. That's what I've seen a little bit when I seen the Mariota situation, because you came in here knowing that as soon as you were signed to Atlanta, the bridge gap quarterback thing came in, where he wouldn't be the future here in Atlanta. He's only here to come in and help out with whatever quarterback route we go in the future. So Mariota was kind of dealt the hand too when he was joined here. He was like, you're not going to be shit here in Atlanta anyway. So a bad season, we're bringing in Ritter. You play well enough to the end of the season, we might think about keeping you. It's not like you have a guaranteed job and you're the franchise guy. And of course, it didn't work out for Mariota. But Ernest Hall, not Ernest, DSGB Hall, Eric, y'all know in the chat when I mentioned to y'all, I said there's a couple times because I'm at the game and I see the emotions of the players on the sideline, and I see sometimes even at their interception with Mariota or a bad play, he would not even go over there and speak to Ritter. You know what I'm saying? The Carolina upside down fumble toss, I'm standing there in the rain, right? And I'm watching Mariota's actions. He comes off to the field, and I remember grabbing my phone and texting the group and saying, bro, he's not saying nothing to the team. He's not saying anything to Ritter. He's not saying nothing. No grabbing up the Microsoft tablet and going over with the quarterbacks and nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that from time to time, home games and away games. It was kind of like he'll mention the comments in the media, like, oh, yeah, Ritter's a nice guy, leader in development, young kid. But when he came to the game, he was like, I don't give a damn. It's all about Mariota. And if it doesn't work out, I'm out of here. Because you can see what happened at the end of the season. I would say it. He gave up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, it is what it is. But now you look at the future here with Atlanta, and you look at Zach Robinson working with the system. And don't forget, he wasn't the offensive coordinator in the Rams, but where he came from with that system of those coaches over there being in the war room, he learned a lot of things, right? And maybe we do have a young Kyle Shanahan getting ready to take, the OC ranks here in Atlanta. We don't know yet, but I think with that quarterback staff and that the assistants and who they got right now in that room, they want something fresh here in Atlanta, right? It's just not a me thing. It's not a Jack Spade thing. It's not a Terry thing or an Eric Parker thing or an Emmanuel McFarland thing. I think people are just noticing that there hasn't been a franchise guy since Matt Ryan. Even though it's been a couple years since Matt Ryan's been here, those couple years have been depressing and embarrassing. And I think they really need to go and try to hit the Houston Texans type of mark where they brought in a new coaching staff, new GM, however they made their changes. And they brought a new quarterback who now is showing Houston that they're alive now. Now every other team in the AFC South is like, fuck, Houston really hit on that CJ pick because now they have to rebuild in a way to say, wow, one season with D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud, and look where they're at. You know what I'm saying? They're a couple players away from reaching it to the next round. I think you got to look at what Tampa's doing with Baker Mayfield, how slim the quarterback issue right now is in the NFL, where Tampa's even looking to lock up Baker because after Brady, they're like, fuck, we done made it to the playoffs with Baker. Hell, if we let him go, we might not even be back in the situation. What happened to Ryan Trask? What happened to the guy what happened to their backups? Nothing is going on with their backups because Baker Mayfield came in there and saved the day. So some teams have their guy, some teams do not have their guy, and we are the team that does not have the guy. It is what it is. Is there a guy on the roster that can possibly make the move? Yes. No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't think so?
Other than Ritter?
I'm just going to keep it Ritter. I'm going to keep it at Ritter. Ritter's the only person I can see that possibly has a chance to compete for a starting job. But Falcon fans, let's be real. There's going to be 3 QBs on the roster.
Right.
Where is Ritter? At QB2? All right. So then what? You go get a quarterback that's a tier level lower than Ritter from his performance and play who can back up. So you would bring back a Logan Woodside, maybe, if he would take the offer. He doesn't care. But then who's going to be your starter? It's going to be another rookie because the rookie can't talk to Ritter because Ritter didn't have a decent season enough to come over there and say, I can coach you. Let me show you what I learned. The fuck did you learn? You went 12, 12, and 13. I ain't trying to see that.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It's just like on a performance level as a rookie, who are you going to get? So maybe you bring in a veteran, and it gets to the rumor now as our next topic is unfolding here. The Kirk Cousins.
Segue.
Kirk, oh, I love it, right? He gets
Segue.
just blends right in, right? Just mix the ingredients in with the fucking pot and just makes some goddamn gumbo. Hey, man, let me tell you something. The Kirk Cousins rumor to Atlanta, you can see it for some fans because a veteran quarterback and Ritter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, if Ritter's going to be your QB3, then there has to be another guy in place that's able to come in behind Kirk Cousins and be the next man up. For some fans, like I said, they want Ritter out of here. For some fans, if you keep him on the roster, you bring in a vet. So where does Ritter go? QB2? All right. So if he's QB2, you bring in a Kirk Cousins. Just know if Kirk Cousins goes down, Ritter he's the next man up. Right? So for some fans, that might rub them the wrong way. Like, hey, I don't want to see this guy. I've seen him before. Blow up the coaching staff. I mean, the QB room, get a whole new set of QBs, and let's work this thing out. But if it is Ritter and you go get a vet and it's Kirk Cousins, you're not finna draft the quarterback at 8. You're not going to trade. You're not going to move up. You're not even going to entertain it, Terry. And that's where you're going to end up selecting Dallas Turner at 8. That's why some of these reports, these rumors, have Dallas Turner to the Falcons at 8. Because we're going to get our quarterback in the free agency. We're not going past the draft not having a quarterback. Am I right, Terry?
I would agree.
If we get out of the draft and don't have a quarterback, if we leave the draft April, 25th, 26th, 27th, whatever, if we leave the draft those 3 days and do not have a quarterback, Terry, that is not a good look.
No, and I don't. First and foremost, I don't think you can chance that. I think okay. What I think could potentially happen, you could sign Kirk Cousins, but that could be cannon fodder, right? I'm not giving Kirk Cousins $45 million. I'm just not. So if we are signing him, what's the price, right? Let's say you do sign Kirk Cousins for 35 or 30 for 2 years, maybe 35. Okay. That doesn't mean you can't draft a quarterback in round 2. So you could sign Cousins, draft the quarterback, keep Ritter. Ritter right now is a great third string quarterback. Okay. I would go on record and say he's probably better than most third string quarterbacks.
You put a starter who couldn't perform to the level he was supposed to perform at, and you keep him on your roster, and you drop him back 2 quarterback spots, but you still have another quarterback come into place that can help develop this guy. I ain't got no problem with that. Sure.
Yeah, and not only that, the guy couldn't perform, but the guy wasn't necessarily given all the tools and all the intangibles to win. Right? If you had a quarterbacks coach, then that's a little different. He didn't in year 1 of his candidacy here. You can't overlook that, right? Even on certain films, you have commentators pointing out that his feet aren't set. This isn't right. He threw it off his back foot. That ball needs to be early. You can see he's throwing to one side of the field. So he definitely needed some coaching, right? So if we give the kid some coaching, he very well could improve. He might make it a race for number 2. So I'm okay with keeping Rick. I think that's a good move. He's a 3rd round draft pick. He's not costing you that much. It's just good fiscal responsibility to keep him and develop him. Now you can sign a Kirk Cousins or even somebody else. And for me, it's about who you sign, right? So let's say you don't sign Kirk Cousins. Just walk with me here, right? These are all scenarios. Let's say you sign.
Go down the rumor report. Go down the options list, Terry. Keep going.
Right. Let's say you sign Ryan Tannehill. If you sign Ryan Tannehill,
hold on. No, I was with you till you said that.
Just walk with me. Just walk with me, right? Let's say you sign Ryan Tannehill. Do you then still try and get a quarterback in the 1st round if you do that?
Yes, because Tannehill has to know. Of course, in his career, Tannehill knows, and this goes to the leadership issue too as well with Tennessee. Remember, they asked Tannehill to mentor and be a leader for Malik Willis when they drafted him, and he said
Willis, that's
no.
right.
He said that's not his job because why?
Right.
I think in his mental, he's thinking, I'm out of here. I'm leaving Tennessee soon. This kid is taking my job.
Right.
He's taking my job. This is not a backup. This is not a Matt Schwab, Matt Ryan situation. That's why Matt Schwab was here sometimes. He wasn't taking Matt Ryan's job. Everybody knew, why is Matt Schwab here in Atlanta? You think Matt Schwab is taking Matt Ryan's job at any point in Matt Ryan's career after a 3-interception game or a 5-sack game? Do you think Matt Schwab is taking Matt Ryan's job? No.
Never.
For the situation where they draft a guy like Malik Willis in a time in this NFL with social media where Malik Willis was this hype coming out of college and fans wanted to see him, Tannehill took it as a shot. I'm not finna mentor this kid. And then when it gets to the time where you need me, I'm going to turn my backs. And then sure enough, Tannehill is out of here this year. So if Tannehill was to come over to us, he has to know in his mind, I'm not a starting quarterback no more. But then Tannehill looks at the NFL, Terry. Tannehill looks at the NFL and says, damn, there's a lot of quarterbacks just like me in this free agency.
Right.
Never won the big game, haven't been playoff experienced, ready. Haven't been on the team with the right system. Matt Jones would be available probably. Zach Wilson would probably be available. Gardner Minshew. Look at the name, Jameis Winston. This is all Ryan Tannehill tier quarterbacks.
Right. There's a dearth of quarterback savvy right now in free agency. But
Tannehill might bump the price up because of that. He might look at it and say, well, I'm just going to, charge this much because the team might back up me knowing that I may have a shot if the starting guy goes down. Tannehill doesn't make your roster right now and go QB3. He's automatically QB2 or QB1. Depends on where you put him.
Yeah, I'd say he'd be QB2, but I'm okay with that. I know there's a dearth of talent, but let's be real. You can only do so much. I don't think Tannehill is in a place to leverage that much, right? Yes. I don't think we can look at his resume and say, right. So, for me, Tannehill's not getting more than $25 million. And
no, definitely not. No. And if
but I don't think he's getting more than that. Right. And you have Dak over here getting 60 or whatever the number is. So I think the salary in and of itself dictates the role, right? If we sign you for 25 million, you're going to do whatever we say, whether that's second string, whatever. Right. So for me, I guess, look, let's just get somebody in here that we can work with, that we can build towards, something and I'm okay with it. Right. I don't want Kirk Cousins at 45 million. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want him at 45 million. I hope we don't do that. I think that'd be a mistake. Now I'm not in the front office, so whatever, but you really handicap yourself if you end up with 60 million in cap space and you spend 45 on. You can do the numbers, right?
Yeah.
The math ain't math.
People going to work it out and look at it and say, well, it's not really 45. It's a shit ton of money. Let's say it like that. It's going to be a shit ton of money. It's not going to be your standard 3, 4, 5 mil, which you paid Desmond Ridder, which fans are looking at Ridder like, how much is Ridder getting paid? Oh, shit, keep him on the roster. Wait a minute. Fans look at that and say, wait, if we cut Taylor Heineke, we can save 7 mil. Ooh, cut Taylor Heineke. But now you want to go take some of that 7 and go pay Kurt $30-something million? That's a tough decision for a 35, 36-year-old quarterback coming off of an ACL injury. I'm not going off of if he's elite or not. I'm not going off of can he make the throw or not. I haven't even got to the performance. I'm going off of the fucking contract. It's going to be expensive. I, as a fan, want to see the money spent elsewhere. But then again, like Terry said, we're not in the front office. So Terry is not going to watch this podcast and say, you know what? One time for the fans said, we ain't going to do that shit. We ain't going to do that shit. Fuck that. It doesn't work like that. So big shout out to Terry in the front office and Rich McKay and everybody and Arthur Blank. But podcasts like these, that's why we bring the fans on and we talk to the special guests and we read comments on the screen. Because sometimes what I'm thinking is what Emmanuel is thinking. It's what Michael W. is thinking. It's what Sterling Woods is thinking. And when you have a bunch of people that think like that, you're going to have more people that think like that. Like there is no option right now, Falcon fans, that we will go get a quarterback. I think everybody, see what the fuck I'm saying? We're going to go get a quarterback either in the free agency or the draft. If it's Kirk Cousins, I have him on my list of 5, But then again, I'm not rooting for the Kirk Cousins pick. It's not like I'm out here picking, hey, go Kirk Cousins and bring him to Atlanta.
Yeah.
If he's here, we will find out on One Time for the Fan how Kirk Cousins can help the Falcons win games. That's what we do here on One Time for the Fan. But there are other options available. So the Kirk Cousins rumor coming out that he's linked, and now some of the ATL media outside of the Falcons and different journalism groups are saying, oh, Kirk Cousins linked to Atlanta. His wife's from Atlanta. He likes to play in a dome. It's the weirdest shit ever. But then again, you know, however you guys want to look at it. But for me, if some of the fans can put the petty aside for the Russell Wilson that I keep talking about, if you end up landing and getting a Russell Wilson, you're going to the playoffs next year. If he's playing the full season, you are going to the playoffs next year. That's a guarantee. I'm telling you right now. Russell Wilson is the best quarterback that's soon to be available. Will he give the double finger salute to Denver and say, I'll take the minimum contract from any other team because the Denver is paying me a shit ton of money? There's rumors that he's selling his house right now in Denver, so it's going to come out soon that he's probably going to be the guy that's going to be available. The Justin Fields talk over the weekend, the rumor about the Steelers won't be targeting a guy like Justin Fields because they really trust in Kenny Pickett and they want to bring in just a smaller competition tier quarterback to go against him. There's a lot of rumors going on the next 14 days, 16, 17 days. This week, you might get some news about the Falcons re-signing some players or releasing some players. Why? Because the Bears have made 2 moves in the past week that opened up $30 million in cap space. And if you think other teams ain't looking at that, oh yeah, big shout out to Eddie Jackson too. Whoever he lands, you just got a star player. So to know that Eddie Jackson's hitting the free agency too, oh, you just got a star player. So wherever some of these players will end up, you think the Falcons ain't watching that right now? Like, damn, the Bears just opened up $30 million in cap space doing just cut 2 players and opened up $30 million in cap space.
Yeah.
They already have the number 1 pick. They already had the number 9 pick. They can trade Justin Fields. I keep telling y'all, the Bears hold the NFLs by the balls right now. Sorry to put it.
They really do.
Sorry, but yeah,
they really do. They really do. Yeah. Agreed.
So your quarterback issue, Michael W. There are about 12 quarterbacks needed. Real short supply this year. That's why if you hear, and this is for Falcon fans that say, "Oh, look at Dak, he's so horrible. Look at Dak. Oh, look at Lamar." So the moment they become available in this type of situation, you're going to have people saying, bring him to Atlanta. Look how the shortage of – if Dak is available right now, how many rumors of the Dak to Atlanta would you get, Terry? If Dak is available right now.
I mean, there'd be thousands, but let's be real. I'm not giving Dak $60 million. That's just me, okay? Because – you got to look at it for those of you who just look at the quarterback. We have to pay other people too, right? The world does not exist in a vacuum. So yeah, Dak may be available, but can you afford it, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're going to buy a new car and you got $15,000, right? You got $15,000. You got this loan. That's it. Well, you can't afford a car for 25. You got to stay in your budget range. So, yeah, there probably would be a lot of rumors that Dak will come to Atlanta. But you also have to look at, we have money invested on the defensive side. And I got to believe that's going to be a trend that's going to continue, right? Our GM is from the Saints. What have they done? They've built up their defense. Say what you want, but they have a really good defense and they've had one for a while. And I believe Terry Fontenot is of the same ilk. So I don't see us spending $60 million on anybody not named, I don't know, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, and those guys aren't going to become available. And no disrespect to Dak, he's a great quarterback. Is he 60 million great? Yeah. But the point is, and your point is, there supply and demand. Right? The demand right now for quarterbacks is greater than the supply.
Yes.
So, yeah, you may get some guys that make out in this market that maybe wouldn't before. That's going to happen. The Zach Wilsons of the world will be employed. The Ryan Tannehills of the world will be employed.
Shortly,
But for our Falcons,
they're not employed here.
Right. Well, but I guess my question is, what's the best move? In my mind's eye, it's the value that you get, right? So you want to sign a Russell Wilson? I'm fine with that because I think Russ may take a discount, to your point, just to give the Broncos the old number one sign. I think he absolutely, I think he would do it. I think
Russ
that'd be
is on
great.
your list. Russ is on your list.
Russ is on my list. Justin Fields is on my list. Definitely. I was gonna say Geno from Seattle, but they locked him up, so it's not there. For me, it's kind of like what you said. It's Russ, it's Justin, and then it's draft picks, right? That'd pretty much be it. Wow. However, Caleb, Drake, the other one I never can think of. But that's it for me, right? That doesn't mean that's what they're gonna do, but that's what I'd like to see. So, I don't know, but I definitely think there'll be a new quarterback. And I just have a feeling we're still going to get, I think we could do both. We could sign a free agent and we could still draft someone. Think about it. What if you sign Russell Wilson and you draft a quarterback in the second round and you got Russ mentoring both those guys? You can't lose.
I think the Falcons definitely have a lot of options on the table. Falcon fans that's joining in the chat, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Bring your questions, bring your comments to the chat. We love talking Falcons football with everybody here. One time for the fan. Once again, Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, and then some other channels that we're on too as well. Terry, you're talking about a lot when it comes to the Falcons quarterback issue. It's not just me raising the concern that the Falcons need a quarterback. Every Falcon fan in this chat knows the Falcons need a quarterback. And the issue that's going forward now is how much would you pay a guy like Kirk, Russell's situation with the Broncos. Of course, even coming here to Atlanta, some of the fan base would probably be, as soon as if he gets signed, they'll just be, out of place of what they'll say to Russell just to welcome here in Atlanta. It wouldn't even be like a rise up, Russ, welcome to Atlanta. It's going to be more like, hey, man, tag Future on some random shit. But then you got the Justin Fields issue with the Bears. What are the Jags going to give us? When it comes to the pick wise, is going to be a second, third, however they're going to be able to move. They have until March, I think, 13th to make the decision. But I think they're going to keep Calvin. But for Falcon fans, it's a lot going on with the quarterback issue. I think we have some time to talk about that. Even as we opened up the podcast now, it's almost 40 minutes talking about the quarterback issue. That's how much of a concern it is here, not only with One Time for the Fan, but the fans here in the chat. Joseph Avery said, what positions do we need to adjust on offense and defense? Wide receiver and corner is where we need to go in the draft and fill in as needed. What do y'all think? Go Falcons. Big shout out to Joseph Avery. Here's the cool thing, Falcon fan. Go ahead,
Edge rusher. Right?
So
we need him. We need a him.
You need
we
a
need
him.
A dude. Yeah, we need a him. Young folks know what I'm talking about. We need a him. We need a guy that if it's 3rd and 5 and we got to have it because we're going back home. If we don't get to this quarterback, he can do it. We need a him.
The 4th and 13. They're punting on 4th and 13 now. That's a TJ Watt. That's a Aiden Hutchinson. I even got to say for a young player like Aiden Hutchinson, that's a young Joey Bosa. That's a Nick Bosa. That's a guy that's going to eat. He's going to go over there and get after it. Every time he's on the field, 3-4 down guy, no matter if they're going for it on 4th and 2, we got the sack, we got off the field. You're counting on the guy to get it done. That's a young John Abraham we're looking for right now. Stud to get it done. But Terry, you talked about it, how, Terry F. Baby. We're going to big shout out to Terry Fontenot. When we talk about Terry on the chat, because his name is Terry Fontenot, we're going to call him Terry F. Baby. So big shout out to Terry F. Baby because you got Terry T. Will here in the chat. And then you guys know Terry from New Orleans because he used to be with the Saints. So how they had it out there with New Orleans and Cash Money, Terry F. Baby. It's only fitting. Terry F. Baby. So for Terry Fontenot, I can see why Dallas Turner could be linked to Atlanta. Maybe he is the him at 8. And if you're staying at 8 and you get a Dallas Turner, first of all, if you end up with a star target like a Russell Wilson, and we haven't talked about this on the channel, but if you end up like a star guy like Russell Wilson, or if you get the quarterback that you truly deserve as your guy, and you see Dallas Turner or maybe a Jared Verse slipping to 10 and 11, trade back that 8 and, you know what I'm saying, work that 10 and 11, get some more extra picks, work for the future, because Terry's a trade guy. So bargain with some other teams to trade back. You know, that's something that we have to mention at one time for the fan, because we haven't mentioned it. But if you do get your guy a quarterback and you know that you're not going to take a quarterback in the draft, then get your guy. But to see the Falcons go get 2 quarterbacks in free agency is the tough thing I'm looking at. Like, if they go sign first day of free agency, they go sign Gardner Minshew. And it's like, okay, Gardner Minshew. Okay, where's the route they're going here? And then they go sign Russell Wilson. Well, there's no quarterback battle. It's going to be Russell Wilson, Gardner Minshew. There's not going to be a quarterback in the draft. They're not going to pick a quarterback at that position. But if you see they go through the draft, they go through the free agency, and Ritter's still the only guy on the roster, and it's day 2, it's day 3 of free agency, it's day 4, it's day 5, and Kirk Cousins gets signed to this team, and Justin Fields goes to this team, and Russell Wilson goes to this team, they're going to probably make the move for draft. It is probably going to be a young guy that they're going to bring in here. But if it is Dallas Turner that they're selecting, Terry, that is a pass rusher that is helping build up your defense. You made some moves to, you know, get the cap where you have it. You made some moves to get this roster in that top 20 area, you know, that top 15 area where you wanted them last season. And then you go add a star pass rusher in the first round at pick number 8. Most of the fans would think with Arthur Smith, you guys selected skilled offensive players the past couple of years. Where's the defensive guy? Then at 8, you go select a star pass rusher like Dallas Turner, or even if you get Jared Verse, anywhere between 10 through 15 would be a good option. But for fans, they want to see the quarterback selected. They want to see the draft splash night. They want to see everything happen. They don't want to see PJ Webb as the Falcons quarterback next season, and he's competing against Logan Woodside and Geronimo Johnson for the quarterback job. That's not what we're here for. That's not what Raheem's here for. It's not going to happen. That's not what we're here for. So
I don't think I want to see that either.
We don't want to see that, Terry. We don't want to see that. Chat is live. Chat is lit. Stern Woods, Emmanuel McFarland, quarterback is agenda number 1. DSGB Hall said, Kirk Cousins, you like that? The boy Lowski said, Kirk Cuzzo. Man, McFarland.
If the price is right.
If the price is right, now we're not going to knock him out because I have him in my top 5 too as well. If the price is right for Kirk, where it's not some crazy deal where fans are going to start bashing it, like, look what you guys did. You guys messed up again. Man, I'll be in a different situation. But right now, the Achilles tear, the age, it's like, send him to a team that we can play this season. I wouldn't even be upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, send him to, I don't know. If you send him, technically, if you send him to the Steelers, he's a starter. And the Steelers are not going to bench Pickett right now. They actually want to give Pickett a shot to go give him this last year. If you send him to the Titans, he's a starter. But what does that do with Will Levis? If you send him to the Raiders, he's a starter. There's no backup to compete against Kirk Cousins. He's a starter. That's their Jimmy G. That's their next Jimmy G. You send him to the Redskins again, or the Commanders, he's a starter, right? You send him to the Broncos, he's a starter. That's why the ties are getting so close to Atlanta, because a lot of these teams might not go to Kirk Cousins' route. That's why the media is kind of pushing him to Atlanta. Like, hey, take the fucking scraps with the 36-year-old with the Achilles tear.
Right.
I don't want that here in Atlanta.
No, me neither. And I honestly feel like there's a big difference between an Achilles tear and an ACL. With modern day medicine, you can come back. And even though you may not be confident, right, you can play reasonably well on an ACL tear in the next season. An Achilles tear is a full year recovery. And that's at 25, right? You start hitting 30 something, let's be real, those verticals are gone. Okay? You don't have verticals anymore. That's number one. The get off, the explosion. And not that Kirk Cousins ever really had that, but the question is that going to be there? So even though you may have had a great season last year, and you know, let's be real, Kirk Cousins has had some good seasons. He's also been inconsistent at times, right? What are you really getting? There's no way. Again, so at 30 million, I'll take Kirk Cousins tomorrow. 35, you know, maybe we can talk about it. But anything over 35, no. He's definitely not getting 45 from me for 2 seasons. I would let him walk because at that point, the value is going to take away from the other players that we have to sign. Again, we got to re-sign AJ. He's up in his 5th year. We got to look at what we're going to do on the other side of the corner. Even if we go in the draft and we get an edge rusher, we still need some more guys on that defensive line. We need a receiver. So we need other resources to distribute. We don't have $45 million to get Kirk Cousins. And no disrespect to Kirk. Like you say, he puts his body on the line. He's a professional athlete, and maybe he can go somewhere else and get $45 million, but not here. That's how I feel about it.
You have a point there because Falcon fans, you want to rebuild this defense with your Daniel Hunters. First of all, Falcon fans, there's some new people in the chat. There's some people that haven't caught the past couple episodes of One Time for the Fan. Go and look at the free agency list for the defensive players this year before we make some Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Go and look at the positions that you need filled for this team this year and go look at Kirk Cousins' contract. This goes to what my man Joseph Avery was just talking about. What positions do we need? Joseph, I didn't get away from that question. I was getting back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Training camp this year is going to be a fucking amazing. You want to know why? Because there's going to be a shit ton of competition battles going on.
Yes, it will.
From the Falcons signing, and Terry, you know about this, from the Falcons signing their big name or whoever wide receiver 2 that we know will be the wide receiver 2. First of all, it's 2024. Falcon fans, we're in a position where if they go sign a Boyd, or they go sign a Higgins, or they go sign a Diggs, or they go sign a guy that you know is a wide receiver 2, then he is the wide receiver 2. Remember last year, we was like, is Mac the wide receiver 2? Like, I don't know. Well, I think we're going to go bring in somebody else. I mean, no. By preseason, we realized Mac was the wide receiver 2. We knew that. So when they bring in another guy, huh?
I'm sorry. Is Diggs a 2 or a 1? Is Diggs a 2 or a 1?
Well, with Buffalo, he's the 1. With him and Adam Thielen, I kind of had Diggs. I had Thielen as the 1. So technically, yeah. And, well, let's take Diggs out the picture then. A Boyd, a Higgins, a Mike Williams who used to play with the Chargers. Who was the other guy on the other side of the dude on the other side of Amari Cooper? The dude on the other side of CeeDee Lamb in Dallas too as well. You know there's some receivers that are wide receiver 2. So when they get in the building, you're going to say, oh, Drake is wide receiver 1. He's wide receiver 2. But then here comes the competition battle. Wide receiver 3, 4, and 5, and then probably they go with 6. Who's your 6? The tight end situation after Kyle Pitts. If Jonnu Smith is gone and you get that $7 million back, who's your tight end? So let's go tight end 2, tight end 3 battle. That's going to be a tight battle right there at camp 2 as well. Quarterback battle if Ritter stays, because if he's becoming the starter, there's going to be a big quarterback battle for who the backup's going to be. Do we want to get to that? The wide receiver battle, the tight end battle. Jake is good. Your left guard with Bergeron, I mean the Matthews. You got Matthews, Bergeron, Lindstrom. Those guys seem to be good. They might bring in somebody to battle against Dahlman at center. They might bring in somebody, but Dahlman got pretty good praise from PFF last year, and this line has kept together the past couple seasons with Dahlman there too. I can see them probably not battling somebody with Dahlman. So the offensive line, unless McGarry goes, now McGarry's the one that we're going to talk about coming up in a couple of weeks closer to free agency. He could be the trade bait. We're going to talk about that in a couple more episodes, not tonight, but if he goes, then you're right. That battle comes in for that tackle position, right? So let's get away from the offensive line. The running back room is solid unless CP goes. CP goes, now you have to battle for who your running back 3 and 4 is, or however you're going to go about it. Because, Algier's there, Robinson there. CP goes, who's your running back 3? They're going to bring in a bunch of bodies. Somebody's going to be fighting for that job. So now you got a wide receiver 3, 4, 5 battle. You got a tight end 2 and 3 battle. You got a running back 3 battle. You have defensive side of the ball. Who's going to be your slot corner? Is Mike Hughes staying? What are they doing with D. Alford? What are they doing with Jeff Okudah? Clark Phillips is probably going to move up the depth chart. What's going to happen with your cornerback 2 now if they get rid of Okudah? What's going to happen alongside your safety outside of Richie Grant if he goes? Is Helms the guy to step in? What's going to happen besides Grady in this 3-4? Aminata in this 3-4. If Campbell goes, if Dupree goes, there's going to be a shit ton of competition battles going on. A lot for starter positions too. A lot for playing time too. So Joseph Avery, what positions do we need? I kind of just broke that down. And the cool thing about it is when you guys go to training camp, when you guys hit up me and Jack Spade, what's going on in training camp? I'm gonna let y'all know for real, because there is a lot of competition battles this season going into Falcons training camp. So I'm excited about the moves that they can make. But it's important when I want Falcon fans to go look at the free agents available on defense this offseason. Look at their price and what they're like. It's fucking through the roof of the talent you can bring in this team and help out the positions you need to fix. And then if you spend all that money on a quarterback, you wouldn't be getting even nowhere near that amount of talent. You wouldn't be able to do it. And it's kind of like the situation with Jesse Bates, where it's like, oh, if you would go get this guy, you would never be able to get Jesse Bates. That is true. It's kind of like the Payne and Jesse Bates. It would have been tough for us to get Payne and Jesse Bates. That would have been a tough-ass move. Could it have happened? Maybe. But they chose Jesse Bates. How did it work for us? It worked out well, if you ask me. Worked out well.
Absolutely.
We got over 21 plus sacks with the new defensive coordinator without Payne. Jesse Bates is all-pro safety, number one technically in our book in the whole league. You're going to build a secondary around that guy and AJ Terrell if you're going to keep Terrell here. Fucking worked out well with me. But you didn't spend a boatload of cash, and you went ahead and you got some more players behind Jesse Bates to come in here and make some noise. Man, I was just on a fucking rant. That felt good. That felt good. That felt good, Terry. I don't know what to tell you, man. I love talking Falcons football. I'm all out of water, too. Manuel McFarland. I don't want Tannehill nowhere near Atlanta with that mentality. Manuel's back. He said, I posted earlier on this, but are we against getting quarterback in free agency as well in the draft? I'm not.
No. Not at all.
If you bring in a Minshew and if Minshew is your guy second day of free agency, if Tannehill is your guy, Terry, if Tannehill is your guy second day of free agency, you probably will draft the guy in the draft, in the quarterback, in the first round. That's probably your guy in the first round. Because fans here know that Tannehill is not the starter.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to expect to find out he's not the starter. Now, if you get through the whole draft and we don't get a quarterback, well, Jack Spade's wrong, and Tannehill's the fucking starter. But don't come fucking beat me up for it. But I'm going off of what every fan would be sitting here thinking. Okay, they signed Tannehill. Okay, they signed Minshew. Okay, they signed Sam Darnold. Okay, they got to get a quarterback. I mean, Sam Darnold's the backup. Okay, you got Ritter. You got Sam Darnold. Okay, where's Ritter? Is Ritter 2? Is he 3? Where's Darnold? Okay, fuck that. Who's going to be the QB1? And then they go and sign Jake Fromm.
Yeah, I don't see 2 additional signatures. I don't. I see 1 veteran, 1 draft. Mm-hmm. And it really depends on where you sign. So if you sign an expensive veteran, your draft is going to be in the later rounds, right? If you sign an economically viable, i.e. cheap veteran, then your draft is going to be higher up, probably in the first round. That's how I would see it. However you want to put it. You know, again, I'd love to have Russ because the universe may come together in unison and a unicorn and Bigfoot collide and we get Russ on a very cheap deal, right? Which means you can spend money elsewhere and you can still go and draft a guy maybe in the second round and voila, you have it. That'd be because Russ is a winner. And I think if Russ comes here, we're going to win. So I'd love that. You know, the universe doesn't always work that way. To the extent that it does, that would be great. I don't think you'll have 2 free agency signings, right? I think you'll have one of 3 things. One, you'll either have a big quarterback signing and a draft in the later rounds, or you'll have you sign a quarterback for maybe 20 million, 15 to 20 million, and you draft high, right? And the hierarchy is your draft pick, your veteran, and then Ritter, or some way that way. But in my opinion, that would be the way it would go.
Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Let me tell you something about this guy right here, Terry. See this guy right here, Dave?
Yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to Dave, man. Dave, big shout out to you, man. Thank you for supporting One Time for the Fan. Dave was with us here on One Time for the Fan's first show. I'm talking about first show.
Okay. Shout out to Dave.
Diehard Falcon fan. and I haven't spoke to Dave in probably a couple of months. He'll pop in and out every now and then, but when we first started, Dave was here every single night, even on that draft night, talking Falcons football with us. Die-hard Falcon fan, and like I said, I haven't spoke to Dave in months. But to see Dave's comment again here on One Time for the Fan is good to know that, you know, fans has been rocking with you since day one, and they're still rocking with us now, because we do come here on the channel. We don't pick sides on anything. We're going to tell how it is. We're diehard fans. We go to the games, practice, no matter what it is, but we represent the fan base. Dave, for one, has represented the fan base. I'm not ruling out Carson Wentz at all, Dave. When I mentioned the Tannehills and the PJ Webbs and the Gardner Minshew's, I say those names, but I'm putting Wentz in those categories too. They're the quarterbacks who fans don't want at our quarterback, but know that they could end up at quarterback. That's what I have it as. And then you have the quarterbacks who fans want at quarterback because they seem to be really good quarterbacks because fans believe that they're good quarterbacks. So there's different options that the fans have here, Terry. You see what I'm saying?
Right. What happened with Wentz? I mean, he had that, you know, first year where he was great, then he got injured and he came back and it was like he fell off a cliff. What happened?
As a Falcon fan, you know, it's kind of like with the Bulldogs. You know, I spent a lot of time on the Falcons and the Bulldogs, so I didn't get to find out what happened with Carson Wentz after the whole LA thing. But you know, where he won a Super Bowl, and you know he's going to enjoy that experience. So Carson Wentz, do what you ever have to do. One thing I want to point out, Terry, before we get to the last topic, Falcon fans, I'm dead serious about this shit. Falcon fans always say, "Yo, I gotta Jack. Who would you go with? You keep talking about you got 5 quarterbacks, you got 10 quarterbacks. Who would you go with, Jack Spade? Yo, bring Russell to ATL, kick Future out. Shout out to Chase from Dirty Finesse United. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, subscribe button. This is what you got, Sonia Norwood. You got Falcon fans, Dirty Bird Nest members in here. Season ticket holders, rep your section. I forgot. We used to do that all the time. Let's go back to that. Season ticket holders in the chat, rep your section. Rep what section you are at the Benz. All my season ticket holders. Sari, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 98 passer rating. 3,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 84 passer rating. 3,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 103 passer rating. COVID year, 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 105 passer rating. 4,100 yards, 35 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 106 passer rating. 3,400 yards, 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 110 passer rating. Bring Russell Wilson to the Atlanta Falcons, man. Come on, man.
Let's do it.
Listen to this, Falcon fans. It's your Super Bowl right there. This is your playoffs right there. There's not an I in team moment here, but listen to what I'm saying. 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Another year, 35 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Oh, sorry, 3,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. You got injured that year. The other year, 3,100 touchdowns. I'm sorry, what the fuck am I talking about? 3,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Another year, 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Another year, 4,100 yards, 31 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's elite. That's what elite is. That's the level of you don't have to be in the media like Aaron Rodgers every day to have your name get across fucking ESPN every day. There's a guy who could, and I mentioned this the other day, there's a guy who could, from the NFC, help dethrone the Chiefs. If he ends up in Atlanta with this roster. You put Russell Wilson on this team right now, the Atlanta Falcons have already made the playoffs.
I agree.
A full season strength Russell Wilson from week 1 to week 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever the fuck you want to go. They could put 25 weeks. It doesn't matter. You put more weeks, that's more stats. for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
This ain't no pad the stats quarterback in the fourth quarter when you're down 20 and the team lets you do whatever you want. This is a guy who takes advantage of the other team that he's playing against. This is a guy who strikes fear in other teams. I talked about this the other day, Terry. I want a quarterback that teams know when they play us, the quarterback alone strikes fear in the other team. When Josh Allen goes to play against another team, people know that you have to have your shit together on defense for a Josh Allen. I don't give a damn what he's done in the playoffs. During the season, he will light you up for 300-400 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 4 touchdowns in the air. He will light you up some random way. Tua has now become that too as well. When you play the Dolphins next season, you better get your shit together because the Dolphins are going to light you up from the first play. Though some teams are not the greatest. No, Jack, the Dolphins didn't go undefeated. No, Jack, the Buffalo Bills didn't go undefeated. No, but these quarterbacks do strike fear in other teams because they're pretty good at what they do. They're pretty good.
They do.
Russell Wilson maybe on Denver's team didn't strike fear, but if you put him in Atlanta, oh my gosh, Falcon fans, I just read the numbers. This man usually has 10 to 15 more touchdowns than interceptions. Hell, some seasons he had almost 20 plus touchdowns to interceptions. He can read defense.
And he has an arsenal of weapons. Unlike any, you could argue maybe the 2013 season, but they were kind of led by the Legion of Boom. You have 4 weapons, at least. You got 4 weapons you can go to, Russ, right? Come on to Atlanta. You got 4 weapons.
He runs the ball. He literally has a check down of Robinson. He has a nice intermediate pass to Pitts. He has Drake on the deep ball. That's 3 weapons he has. They don't even add Patterson to the mix because him and Patterson will work well together. Experience, age, leadership, accountability. You're talking about 2 guys in their 30s that just want to win. You feel what I'm saying? So keeping Patterson here, and Patterson's also a cheap deal too as well. So I expect that the Falcons re-signing. I expect that one of the Falcons re-signing to happen in a matter of days is Cordell Patterson. That's going to be number 1. Bring him back. He deserves that. So Russell Wilson has a nice – and, well, Algier's on that rookie deal, so he's still going to be – he should be good to go. But Jonnu Smith, I can see him probably at the door, a couple other players. But Russell Wilson automatically in Atlanta, Terry, reads playoffs. You mentioned playoffs when Raheem got here because the energy Raheem brought. The comments of Zach Robinson about the quarterback he's looking for, an elite processor, and guy who wants the ball in the last couple of minutes of the game and game-changing decision. Jesus Christ, that sounds like Russell fucking Wilson right there. Does it not sound like a Russell Wilson when you have a Zach Robinson in a new system? You have Russell Wilson who can come to Atlanta. I'm all for it. I mentioned the future stuff because that's what Atlanta is. We're entertainment. We're petty. We're drama. We love the tea. So I can mention that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And fans can understand because, that's what Atlanta is in a way. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson coming to Atlanta would be my number 1 choice at quarterback because he's automatically going to raise the bar and take us to the next level. By week 5, week 6, we should have our playoff tickets ready here in Atlanta with a guy like Russell Wilson. But then you go to the younger guys with Jaden Daniels and Drake May. And, there's been a lot of people throwing the Drake May bad throws on the internet now. You see, Terry, we're getting closer to draft. So here comes the tape of some of these kids with their bad throws and their mishaps and their misfires. Oh, they're throwing them shits out now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're throwing them out because, again, if you're sitting at pick number 10 and you really want Drake May, wouldn't it not benefit you for some mishaps to come out? Would it not benefit for maybe, Drake's status to drop so he can drop to you? So, a lot of this is just strategy by teams who need a quarterback but are not in a draft position, and maybe they don't have the draft capital to acquire him where they are. All right.
And some teams will wait till next year to do the same thing you're talking about. They know they can't get in right now. So they're going to say, hey, let's ride it out with our veteran or whoever I got, like the Giants. If the Giants have another bad season with Daniel Jones, you think they're going to say, you know what? Let's give this guy another 40 fucking million. This guy's pretty fucking good. We haven't been to the playoffs in about 3 years, but you know what? This guy is really good. It's not fin to happen, Falcon fans. Matter of fact, you might even look at your Trevor Lawrences in the next couple of years and see if Houston is taking those divisions and you got your, there's some teams to look at where Bro, you got the Bengals in the division where the Ravens are just fucking going stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if the Ravens continue that success and wherever Deshaun Watson is going to be in the next couple of years with the Browns, because if Deshaun Watson has another season where he's injured and they got to bring in a backup, and the following season they don't make the playoffs with Deshaun, what is the Browns going to do? Keep him? Every team is in a win now mode, and they are short-spanned when it comes to a quarterback who can't get the job done. 3 years, 4 years, you're out. If you're not Patrick Mahomes, get the fuck out of here. Or if you don't even look like Patrick, if you don't smell like Patrick Mahomes, if I can't even, if I say Josh Allen and it doesn't sound like Patrick Mahomes, get out of my room. You feel what I'm saying? Teams are stuck on that now. Now, what fans to see that?
I'm sorry. Is Watson, his deal's guaranteed, is it not?
He's guaranteed up until I think it's 2025. But remember, what have the Browns done with Watson being over there?
Oh, nothing. I'm just. It's merely if he's fully guaranteed, I'm not releasing him. Now, if I thought his deal was fully guaranteed, but I could be wrong. But if it is post 2025, maybe they do get rid of him. But your point is made. I get it. You're essentially saying that look, in certain divisions, if we're going to compete, and if we keep coming up against Pat Mahomes, at a certain point, we may have to change guys.
To take him down. You got to have the guy to take him down, man.
Right. Correct.
And it's Russell Wilson could be the guy. I'm not saying it can't be a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May, but when you see an NFL quarterback who's available, a guy who has promise, Terry, a guy who has experience, Terry, a guy who has every tangible as a quarterback that is needed to lead a team to victory. You can't think of nobody else, none other right now in the position that the Falcons are in to help them get over the hump. First of all, Terry, to help them get over the hump without worrying how we can get over the hump. It's a Russell Wilson. You bring in a rookie quarterback and you're like, oh, man, please let this guy be good. You bring in a Russell Wilson, it's like, I know we're throwing for 30 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I was waiting for this shit. What does the stats say it?
Yeah, agreed.
The stats say it, Terry. You know you're waiting for a 20-5 season or a 25-3 season or a 34-9 season. The stats say that Russell Wilson's going to give you 3,000 plus, 25 touchdowns plus, less than 10 interceptions or 15 interceptions plus. Why not wait for a guy like Russell Wilson and go get him? Go get him. Go get him
today. Well, March 13th.
And then stop worrying about how we're going to beat the. First of all, Russell Wilson's going to strike fear in every team in our division. They're going to say, holy shit, the Falcons got Russell Wilson. Holy shit. Nobody's going to say, well, we're 0-2.
Oh, man.
And there's one thing you don't want to be in the NFL, and that's a Jags fan or a Panther fan. Just telling you right now. One time for the fan, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe because we have a lot coming up here when it comes to one time for the fan. As you can see, people have dropped the one time for the fan hashtag in the chat. Tonight is the last time that you get an opportunity to win the giveaway. The giveaway is on Wednesday. We will announce the names on Wednesday. We have a lot of people who is already entered into the raffle. Some of y'all remember it last year when we did the giveaway. We had a great time doing it. We put the little wheel on the screen and we put the names and it was like, fuck, you didn't get the prize. You got to go. You know what I'm saying? People was in the chat like, nah, put my name in. Motherfucker came in there with 3 names. Bodie had like 4 names. I'm like, who the fuck is Bodane, Bodie, Bodrain Jones? I'm like, who the fuck is this? Bodie put 4 names in there? I'm trying to win some merch, man, I tell you. But Terry, it was a great time last year. You should have seen the Falcon fans that were excited to see the one time for the fan first time giveaway, and now we're doing it again for all the diehard Atlanta Falcon fans here who represent one time for the fans so well. Remember, you have to be a subscriber to the YouTube channel because we will check for that, and you have to just come here to the chat tonight, hit hashtag one time for the fan. We will enter you into the into the competition. On Wednesday, we'll drop the names. Everybody has a good time. We go home happy. Dave is in the chat. I think the Jags are turning to taller and bigger receivers, and that goes for us here in Atlanta because Arthur Smith brought in a lot of those big, tall, tough receivers. I remember one year we had like 4 or 5 guys over 6'4" competing on the team for wide receiver. I was like, where the fuck all these Giants come from? And who the fuck is our slot running the route trees on the slants and the zig routes? Because I'm looking at a bunch of guys who 6'4", 6'5", you're not finna bend and dip the same like a fucking Stephon Diggs or an Amendola or a guy who can get in between them breaks. So the Falcons probably look to have to go with a different route tree this year that not only can stretch the ball down the field, but guys who can get after it quick. I don't know if people see it with the Ravens and Lamar, but when Lamar gets the ball to his receivers, them motherfuckers be chopping. It's like they're just moving so fucking fast. I don't know if the TV's on fast forward when the Ravens catch the ball or what it is, but they just move so fast when I see the Ravens move the ball. And some of their speedsters that they got at receiver is like quick, choppy, quick cutty, swift receivers. And I want to see that here in Atlanta to where we move the chains from it's 1st and 10 towards another 1st and 10, the 2nd 9 to another 1st and 10. I want to see this move of bringing in receivers who don't have to be the flashiest names, but they can move the chains. What the Lions did with their receiving core, what the Texans did with their receiving core, what the Packers did with their receiving core, when even Aaron Rodgers said he couldn't work with that receiving core or some of those players, shows a lot to those teams and those coaches. And that's what I want here in Atlanta, Terry. So it's going to be big, man, when it comes to this offense for the Falcons team. Going to be big, bro. Major. Let's see what we got here. Vernon's in the chat said edge, wide receiver, and cornerback for the draft. Wallace Smith said, I think they will get a top edge rusher in free agency. Can't beat that. Ray Fitty is in the chat. He said, what about a Khalil Mack or Josh Allen at defensive end this year? Terry, here's the cool thing about it. We haven't even talked free agency.
No, we have not. But, hey, we need a him. So I'm good with it. I'm good. I would love Khalil Mack. Oh, my God. Khalil Mack. I'm sorry. Let me tell you something. Khalil Mack causes rush. He causes havoc. Is he a free agent?
He is possibly. I believe he's going to be a free agent. Yes. Oh,
unrestricted
he's part of that list.
Or
he's going to be a free agent. He's going to be hitting the market. You have this list I was telling you about the guys available on defense. You want these guys. You want to go bring in some of these names. They're not going to be big time, 40, 50, 60 million type of guys, but they're going to be some of those tier 1, tier 2 players that are not expecting to break the bank, but they get after it. It's kind of like if you play Madden and like you get into the offseason, if you play like the online leagues, Madden players, and like everybody's picking their free agents, everybody's picking their guys, and then you're like left with the scraps. And because you're left with the scraps, what do? You go look at the stats of the player from last season to see how he competed with other teams. Let's see. Okay, let's see. This guy had 3 sacks with that team and 12 tackles. And then do you want to sign him? Nah, this guy had 1 sack with the other team. Eventually, you start to realize because you didn't do a good job in the beginning stages of free agency, you're left with scraps at the end. And those are not the guys you want. The Falcons need to be aggressive in the free agency to get these tier 1, tier 2 guys. So that way the scraps that you pick up at the end is depth. You don't want to get out of the draft in the early stages of free agency and realize what the hell is going on? Oh, how about this? I thought my computer about to cut off. You don't want to get the early stages in free agency and realize you need more players. So Falcons, you just got to do things the correct way. Terry, you there?
I'm here.
I think I don't know. I could have sworn my computer charge is supposed to be charged up, but for some reason it's not. I don't know. There's something messed up here. Got to check it out. I saw the lights get dim on me, so we'll see. But yeah, there's a lot of things that have to happen here with the Falcons when it comes to free agency and everything. So Dirty Fanatics United is here. Russell in free agency. Dallas Turner at 8. Or you move up in the draft at 3 and take Drake or Jaden Daniels. Terry, what do you feel about Drake to Drake? Is that cool?
I would love Drake to Drake. I mean, if I had my choice of the drafts, I'd rather Drake just because he's a physical stud. And hey, we got one of the best teachers in the league on our staff. I think he'd be all right. So I'd love the Drake to Drake connection. I think it'd be great. Hopefully we'll be seeing it for at least 10 years in Atlanta. So yeah, I think it'd be great.
The Justin Fields to the Steelers from Dirty Fanatics United. Chase is in the chat too as well. All Falcon fans are here in the chat having a good time chatting with each other about Falcons football. Dave said this is great conversation, guys. The Justin Fields situation to the Steelers is kind of rough because let's just say Tomlin believes in Pickett. You don't bring in the Fields, because that's not even a competition battle anymore. Fields is your starter. There's no more competition battle.
Correct.
Right? Certain quarterbacks. Go ahead, Terry.
No. You go ahead. You go ahead.
No.
You go ahead.
Well, I just want to say certain quarterbacks know when they get to a team, there's no start. Remember we talked about the Tannehill situation earlier? Tannehill knows he comes here, they might go get another quarterback. I'm not the guy here.
Right.
Fields goes to the Raiders. Fields is the starter. Fields goes to the Broncos. He's the starter. Fields goes to the Bengals. He's not the starter.
Correct.
He goes to the Commanders. He's the starter. Go ahead.
Yeah. If Fields goes to the Steelers, then Tomlin doesn't believe in tiny hands. What's his name? I forget his name.
Not tiny hands.
Tiny hands. Yeah. No, seriously. For you to make that trade, you don't believe in what you have because Justin Fields is a starter. So for you to send the draft capital and what it's going to be required to get Justin Fields, you don't have to say anything. You already don't believe in what you have, right? Which is just about going to kill his confidence. So, there's a difference. Mike Tomlin said they wanted competition.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Competition doesn't mean you're taking somebody's job. It's competition.
Right. But he said competition. But you bring Justin Fields in there, it's not a competition. So I don't know that I buy that traction. Right. Again, a lot of these rumors are started by analysts who have nothing else to do and nothing else to talk about. And it's cannon fodder for us to discuss. I don't see that being a move for the Steelers. Now, again, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. I've been wrong. I'll be wrong again. But I just don't see it if Tomlin is trying to get competition. Right.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
He gave high praise to Kenny Pickett, their first round pick. Mason Rudolph did have a couple games stink last year, but he mentioned they're going to bring in competition for Kenny.
Correct.
It wasn't like it's not like where it's. I'm trying to think of a team where a GM said where we need to. Well, the Falcons with the Ritter situation, they gave high praise to Ritter today or with Yates, but then they said or Yates said there's going to be a change. I think you can see with New York, they drafted Zach Wilson to be this guy. He was drafted in the first round to be this guy. He was paid a bunch of money to be this guy. Then they brought in Aaron Rodgers and paid him a shit ton of money to be the guy. Zach Wilson now knows from the GM's recent comments at the NFL Honors, the GM said, we need a backup quarterback. Zach Wilson's like, fuck you. Hey, Adrian, you hear that? You hear that? You hear that, didn't you? It's that simple. So when you see the Kenny Pickett situation, Pickett still has this last year to make a shot.
Right.
It's not going to be the battle to say Kenny Pickett's on the sideline week 6, 7, and 8. He didn't get a chance to play. He's out of Pittsburgh if it's that. He's out. Where's the competition battle? He's out.
He was drafted in the first round, right?
Yeah, they want Pickett to find a way to try to give a battle to where they have a Mariota Ritter. Maybe this guy goes to week 9, 10, 11. We get to see the last of the development of this guy. If it doesn't work, we get him out of here. Hell, we still had the winning seasons. We didn't make the playoffs. We had the winning seasons with Kenny Pickett. So it's like, where is he? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think Pickett was drafted in the first round. I think and if the GM who drafted him is still there, you're not going to get Justin Fields because that makes you look bad, right? If you go and get Justin Fields, to your point, Justin is starting. There's no competition. It's not even a discussion, right? Justin is starting, period. Which says, okay, we made a mistake with Kenny Pickett, which makes the GM look bad, right? So for a plethora of reasons, I don't think they go and get Justin Fields if Mike Tomlin said, well, he needs competition, because that's not competition.
That's a takeover starting job right there. There's somebody come to take your job.
Correct. And I've not known Mike Tomlin is very savvy.
Yes.
Very, right? And he's also not a liar. So I don't believe it. That doesn't mean it's not true. I just don't believe it.
Terry, Ryan Tannehill coming into Pittsburgh is competition Because we
That
just
would be
talked about
competition.
Tannehill,
That
knowing
would
that
be
whatever
competition.
job he goes into, chances are he's not the starter.
Yes, correct. Agreed,
That
100%.
sounds more like competition than bringing
Correct.
in. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers says we're bringing in competition, guys. Steelers signed Russell Wilson. It's not competition.
No,
He just took Kenny
no,
Pickett's job.
no. Correct. Correct.
There's no competition. There's no battle at camp.
Correct.
He's the guy. But a Ryan Tannehill at camp. Oh, we got us a little battle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
It will
That's
booster Kenny Pickett a little bit more to see a Ryan Tannehill in there. Okay, they brought in a guy to take my job now. Okay, let me fight for this. And Atlanta's a
right.
different story. Fields come here. There's no competition battle when Fields gets here.
Correct.
He's the
Correct.
starter. There's no battle when
Correct.
Kirk Cousins comes here. He's the starter.
Correct.
There's no
Correct.
battle when Drake May and Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams get here or Penix. They're the starters because there's no competition battle at quarterback in Atlanta. We need a fucking
Right.
quarterback. When they say we need one, there's no quarterback. Listen to some of the way listen to how they talk. Falcon fan. When they say they need a quarterback, we want a quarterback, there's no battle. The next quarterback that is signed is the next quarterback in Atlanta. The next quarterback is the starter. The next quarterback in Atlanta is the starter.
I'm not high on Penix. I'm not high. So it begs the question: if you draft Penix, is he a starter? Because I think Penix will be available after pick 20. I think, looking at that performance against Michigan, it was god awful. There were numerous times, at least 10 times, where he doesn't set his feet, where he just flicks his wrist. I don't know how many interceptions. In my opinion, Penix is not a top 20 pick. So, to your point, Jack, let's say we get Penix in the second round. Is he the day one starter?
It still goes off of what you did in free agency, because if you bring in a Sam Darnold or an insurance pick like a Tannehill, I would make the quarterback battle be in place for fans to get excited, but Penix would be the guy. He's a rookie. I would give him the shot. Last year with Heineke and Ritter was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. That is not exciting to watch. But then again, we saw what happened. That's why our record was what our record was. It wasn't that fucking exciting to watch these two battle against each other in camp. So now you're like, oh, Ritter, woohoo. And then at the end of the season, you're like, get us another guy. You know what I'm saying? So Penix might be the guy. But Falcon fans, this has been great. We're well over the mark, Terry. An hour and a half, and we got over 100-something comments left to go. DSGB Hall said Minshew ain't selling no tickets in Atlanta.
Amen. Amen.
Falcon fans are in the chat. It's going down. Section 134, our season ticket holders are in the chat. Section 118 is also in the chat too as well. We got some more season ticket holders here in the chat. I know they was already checking in. We do want to give a big shout out to everybody who is hitting hashtag one time for the fan. Make sure you are subscribed for the giveaway. Christy Lewis is back here with us talking Falcons football. Shout out to Christy Lewis too as well. She's entered into the competition. Wallace Smith and Georgia Texas boy entered into the competition. We have a lot of people here that want to get some free Falcons merch from One Time for the Fan, because at the end of the day, we want to give back to you all because y'all are so cool. Big shout out to Wallace Smith. Big shout out to Michael W. Manuel McFarland. Big shout out to Dave. Big shout out to Chase. Big shout out to Crimson Huntsman. He said Mac isn't a free agent, but someone who is likely on the trade market. Well, on our roster right now. Khalil Mack. I think about Mac Hollins. Yes. So the Mac is a trade. I think he's going to be trade potential. He's not going to be an open free agent. So he's going to be possibly trade potential that I could possibly see end up in Atlanta too as well. Crimson said Mac only has 1 year left on his deal, and that's good that we have fans in the chat who can check this quickly. A lot of times, if we're on our phones, we're doing certain things. We're bouncing information around here quickly on the podcast. So when we have the backup here, that's cool. I was actually watching Rich Eisen's podcast the other night where he said a bunch of things that was just like all over the place. And then news came out right after it, like to clarify what he was saying, because he was all over the place. But he's a great journalist. But I know Rich Eisen, for his years of experience, think of all that knowledge he has in his head as he's trying to talk to you all and get all these numbers out and get all these It's just so much going on too as well. So, we didn't say that Mac plays for the fucking Carolina Panthers, though. We didn't say that. But big shout out to everybody here in the chat talking Falcons football. It's always great to have everybody here. All the diehard fans. Draft the damn quarterback, William Amy, Wallace Smith, Zay in the bag is in the chat. Fans hope whatever quarterback we get fail so they can be right about Ritter. Shaking my head. They just can't let it go. That is some things that you have to look at. Some fans do say, oh, as soon as he gets the next quarterback and we throws a fumble or he interception or whatever, we're going to bash him. Don't be like that, Falcon fans. Just be a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan and represent for your fan base. I don't want to get cut out here because for some reason the Chargers computer is not charging, and we're down to like less than 2 or 3 technical difficulties. Less than 2 or 3 minutes on the podcast battery life here with my computer, my HP. Terry, any shout outs before we get up out of here, brother?
Hey man, shout out to you. We got charge?
Juice. We got juice. A whole nother 2 hours, y'all. A whole nother 2 hours. Go ahead, Terry. You're good.
What was the shout outs again? Shout out to you. It worked? Okay. Shout out to you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Shout out to my family. Shout out for the fans. Shout out for the folks in this chat. Love y'all. Keep coming in here. Keep commenting. Keep giving us love. Keep hitting subscribe. So yeah, that's what I got. Back to you.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Dre Harrison. Haven't seen Dre Harrison here in the One Time for the Fan chatting channel, but big shout out to Dre. Dre has now entered into the One Time for the Fan giveaway. As you can see, the hashtag is there. Dre Harrison has subscribed to the channel because Dre Harrison wants to win some free Atlanta Falcons merch from us to y'all. It's some cool stuff. I don't know what it might be. It might be like a Falcons Bluetooth speaker. You know what I'm saying? It might be, I don't know, Falcon shot. Y'all like to drink? I drink. Cherry, you like to drink?
Love the drink.
You drink out of Falcon shot glasses?
Absolutely.
Got a Falcon mouse.
Rise up. You know, rise up, literally. Rise up. Yeah, I see.
I got a bunch of Falcon shit. Like, I got a bunch of Falcon stuff I've never opened, Terry. Like, just a bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like that. And then when it comes to like stuff that we're gonna buy for fans to give away, I don't give a shit. I'll buy it. We'll give it to the fans. We want fans to have a good time this offseason. We want fans to enjoy the offseason. Terry got us so hyped. The other day, Terry was in that fan interview like, yeah, my man Matt over here. My man, he just won't even sit still. I'm over there like, put me in the fucking game, coach. Put me in the game. I was ready.
Oh, man.
I'm a diehard Falcon fan. Terry, you're a diehard Falcon fan. Bodie, Chase, Kiki, everybody's a diehard Falcon fan, no matter what conversation we all have with each other. From Christy Lewis to Hal Poole, Emmanuel McFarland, Terry, Michael W., William Amy, Eric Parker. I can keep going with the list. People that I haven't named. We all want to be at the parade. We all want to party on Peachtree. We all want to go to New Orleans this year and win the Super Bowl down in that super dump.
Amen.
That's what we want to do.
Amen. Oh, that'd be great to win it in their state. Oh, my God.
So I'm going to talk about that on Wednesday, Terry. We're going to talk about that on Wednesday. Should we book for the Super Bowl in New Orleans? Because first of all, Falcon fans, and I know a bunch of fans that went to Vegas for the Super Bowl because it's Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give, don't forget, we're not playing. They went to Vegas because why, Terry? It's Vegas. The entertainment, the nightlife, the fun, the fans, the fan-friendly environment of the NFL with the NFL experience and the award shows and Vegas. But for me, Terry, I didn't play in the game, so I didn't take it personal. But next year's Super Bowl is in the dump.
Yes, it is.
I'm taking it personal, Terry.
Yeah, as you should.
So on Wednesday, we're going to talk about should One Time for the Fan book for the Super Bowl down in New Orleans? Because technically, it's still a good time, Terry. Let me put you up on some game. After the Super Bowl in New Orleans, the following week is Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
So just stay over.
Terry.
Just stay there.
Now, Terry.
I tell you what, man. What if we did make the Super Bowl and win on New Orleans home turf? Oh, my God. Holy, man. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You saying there's a chance it happen?
There's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance, brother.
Angelica Williams said she with you.
Hey, man. Oh, my God. Can you imagine the amount of trash we could talk to them on their home?
Imagine the amount of trash we're pouring in the streets that's not already there.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that'd be great. That would be glorious.
Russell Wilson to do it. You got to get a Russell Wilson to do it.
Yeah. You know, hey, Jake, I'm going to be honest. I think Justin Fields to Atlanta is a lot more realistic than Justin Fields to the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, because it's a starting quarterback situation.
I think it's a lot more realistic, and I think it could happen. Now, you know, we've talked about this. They could go the other way and draft Marvin Harrison, which quite candidly, I think would be a better move, right? Because now you have two targets that you can get to that are phenomenal receivers. And if I'm the Bears, I do it. I've already got the quarterback. I do it. But you never know. Maybe they don't want to pay him the next year. You don't know. But to the extent that they did trade him, I think the Falcons are a very realistic destination. I do. I think, you know, sometimes you have to look at these rumors and look at, okay, who'd benefit from this, right? I don't see him going to the Steelers. As a matter of fact, if I had to anoint destinations, I'd say the Falcons probably be number one. Hell, he's from Atlanta.
It's the same. You can talk about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams possibly trying to get out of the Chicago situation to make it to Washington because he's from Washington. Washington needs a quarterback. Him to downplay the Bears in the situation where they have the number one pick. See, the thing about it is, if the Bears had the number one pick and they have a quarterback who's given them the success that they need, you wouldn't have Caleb Williams talking about "Don't send me there."
Correct.
Do you think about that, Falcons fans? Caleb Williams is talking about "Don't send me there" because obviously, in his position of who he is as a quarterback in college, I'm sure his team knows that the Bears are heavily interested in you, Caleb. And if we're interested in you, Caleb, that means we're not so much interested in Justin Fields anymore. Yeah. And for the fans that worried about, whoa, Justin Fields, he's going to leave the Bears and go to a different team. He's going to leave the Bears and go to a different team as a starter. He left the Bears as a starter. He's going to a different team as a starter. And then the Bears will still get their starter. So for the Marvin Harrison situation, you kind of look at it to say, well, the Bears going to say, well, you know, Caleb, you did shit on us too much to a point where we don't even want you. We'll go get Marvin Harrison. We'll keep our guy Justin Fields, and we'll build off that. And then the second pick comes down to Caleb Williams going to Washington because, number one, he bash talked the Bears. Number two, he's from Washington, and Washington needs a quarterback. How cool is it to get the hometown kid who lit up high school in Washington, and now he's coming back to come play NFL football for the team that needs a quarterback? Like, how cool is that? You know what I'm saying? But Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We turned the shout outs into another segment because we love talking Falcons football. And it's getting to a point where we're getting closer to the season and they're going to hear news. And then you're going to get a notification that says One Time for the Fan is going live at this time. So be prepared. Hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat who's been here for an hour and a half talking Falcons football with us. Everybody who's going to go back and watch the podcast or follow us on Twitter, YouTube, wherever you're at. We do thank you for all the support because at the end of the day, we turn on a podcast, we talk Falcons football with you all, and then we go about our business. But Terry can tell you, Chase can tell you, we will be talking Falcons football in the chats after the podcast, and it makes us want to turn the podcast back on. That's why we have our new Friday show, Breakfast with One Time for the Fan, Friday mornings. We did it the other night. We did it the other morning, Terry. It was 9 o'clock, 9:15 we did the show. Something like that, yeah. Yeah, 9:15, 9:30. Almost 40-something, 50-something people's in there watching the show after another 100 people jumped in. I was surprised to see that many people was up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning ready to talk Falcons football. So I was like, fuck, we're going to do this shit again. Let's do it. So this Friday, we got another show, One Time for the Fan, Breakfast with One Time for the Fan, Friday at 9:30 a.m. It's going to be great. Stock market open, so you can do your stocks. Hell, I'll even help you with your fucking stocks if you need some help. Because I'm winning over here. But after that, we can get to some Waffle House. We can get to some IHOP. We can get to some Huddle House, whatever y'all want to do. There you go. Get your coffee. I had some orange juice last time. I couldn't finish remember I had the builders and people over at the house helping me out.
Yeah, you did.
I'm in my zone now, so I might come in here with the All-Star special in this motherfucker.
Let's do it. Love that All-Star special. Let's do it.
It's a fucking tradition in Atlanta. You gotta go get the All-Star special.
Hey, shout out to the Waffle House. I'm just saying.
Big shout out to the Waffle House, man. We might even get Waffle House on the show. One time for the fan. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe button. Who we got? Dre Harrison. Let me get Dre Harrison because Dre Harrison he's here. He's here on the channel talking Falcons football. He said he's from Kennesaw, Georgia. He just played at UGA. Give me Russell to start and draft whatever quarterback falls in the draft. IG, McCarthy, Penix, etc. That way we can grab best player available at 8 and trade back.
I'm okay with that.
I have no problem. Okay with it. He mentioned Russ, so I have no problem with it. He mentioned Russ.
No, I don't. If you get Russ, I don't mind if you go get Penix. I don't mind if you go get JJ McCarthy because obviously Russ is going to start, and you could do worse than Russell Wilson for a mentor. So I'm perfectly okay with everything he said. I'm good with it.
Well, if you go get, here's the funny thing: you go get a Russell Wilson, you can go ahead and add a QB2 battle to your list if you go get a JJ McCarthy because now you got Ritter battling against McCarthy. How weird is that?
Yeah.
How weird is that? But Falcon fans, we'll talk about that on Wednesday. If we continue talking about this, it's going to be 2 hours and then 3 hours, and I got to wake up for work in the morning. So everybody here, I want you to enjoy your Sunday night. I think the All-Star game is on, NBA All-Star game.
I think so, yeah.
Go enjoy it. Go watch the All-Star game. Hang with your family. Hang with your friends. Somebody wants to get beaten Madden, let me know. I'll whoop you on Madden. I got about 4 games to go play. I want to say thank y'all once again, man. I love talking Falcons football with y'all. I swear when this season comes up, we got so much going on. Oh, Wednesday, we're going to talk about not only the giveaway, because we're going to announce the winners for the giveaway, but there's people here asking me about this RiseUp tour. They keep asking me about what is the RiseUp tour. They hear about these parties that's on the road with the Falcon fans and all of this other stuff. They want to know, how can we join the group? How can we be a part of these games? We got a couple people who said they're going to Vegas and they're going to New Orleans this year whenever the schedule drops. And they know, Terry, ahead of time, they're going on the road, but they want to be a part of this RiseUp tour. We've been doing it for 6 years now. These parties are getting bigger and bigger on the road. We're making a bunch of noise right now on the road. So fans keep asking about it. We have a lot of RiseUp tour people in the chat who's member of the tour. And we want to make sure that everybody can know what the tour is. Because this year, we've had a lot of meetings since the beginning of the year started. We have a lot of things in place for the tour that fans are going to be really – see, I got excited. They're going to be really excited about this year when they see what we have rolling out for the RiseUp tour. So big shout out to everybody. Good night to everyone. And Terry, man, I tell you, thank you, brother. Rise up. And let's go get us a playoff win that we need in all these years, man. A Super Bowl win, something, man. Let's go get this shit, man.
Let's do it.
Rise up, brother.